Um, exam
There were original clearances, so they changed their mind, or they never knew. What is it?
Hindi po. After the route has been determined, Your Honor, and
Clearance is sought.
on
You
June,
don't get the clearance.
yes po, kasi we have to engage na with the landowner.
Yeah. So some natatagalan doon.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor. For instance, Your Honor, with Tiesa, Your Honor, for the MVIP, meron na kasi silang land use naisip na na ano ng paggagamitan ng land. So, yung mga ganong ano po. Third is row acquisition issues. Row acquisition remains one of the most persistent bottlenecks in power transmission projects. Challenges include disputes over land valuation, resistance from property owners, or lack of ownership documents. Insofar as filing of expropriation cases, the issuance of WAP, or the writ of possession by courts, is quite a challenge. The issuance of WAP was supposed to be ministerial as long as the provisional deposit is paid. But with the 2023 Supreme Court decision in the Iloilo grain case, where the Supreme Court requires the ERC approval of projects prior to filing of expropriation cases, several WAPs that were already issued were recalled by courts. And another challenge is when courts issue TRO against NGCP when WAP is already issued. So this stretches the project's implementation timeline. Fourth is the protracted permitting process. NGCP transmission projects require numerous permits from both national and local agencies. Projects can require over 20 permits and clearances from multiple agencies such as DENR, DA, NPC, LLDA, DAR, NIA, CAAP, DPWH, NCIP, and other LGUs, and each with its own processing timeline and requirements. Permitting delays can extend the project completion by several years, leading to congestion in the transmission network and deferred integration of new generation capacity. Finally, Your Honor, regulatory approvals. Transmission projects are subject to regulatory oversight by the ERC to approve CapEx, rate adjustments, and project implementation schedules. NGCP is hopeful that with the recent implementation of EBOS for CapEx application, the Supreme Court 2023 ruling in NGCP versus Iloilo Grain Complex Corporation, where NGCP was prohibited to file expropriation case for transmission projects not yet approved by the ERC, will be adequately addressed. In conclusion, addressing these challenges require a whole-of-government approach to align timelines and locations for generation development and transmission expansion. A whole-of-government approach is essential in harmonizing national and local mandates and ensuring that regulatory and administrative frameworks support, not hinder, the achievement of EPIRA's objectives. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So let's go now to Transco, Ms. Donna Calazo Aleria.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Senate, ladies and gentlemen. The committee asked us to present our assessment on NGCP's compliance with its franchise and concession. So next slide, please. This slide presents the framework that defines the relationship of Transco, PISAM, and NGCP. Next slide, please. So based on Section 7.03 and 10.01 of the concession agreement, Transco is tasked to monitor and assess the performance of NGCP, and this oversight function is carried out through a joint mechanism between Transco and PISAM, known as the Technical, Regulatory, Financial, and Legal Assessment Team, which was established in 2010. The TR Flat report is transmitted to NGCP for its compliance and corrective actions, and copies are also furnished to the Department of Energy, Energy Regulatory Commission, Department of Finance, and the Joint Congressional Energy Commission. Next slide, please. So for the 2024 TR Flat, 68 out of 82 provisions of the concession agreement were found either non-compliant or unassessed, mainly due to Transco and PISAM's lack of access to NGCP's books and records beyond financial and asset-related matters. The enumeration on the right are the key unresolved findings from the previous years. Note that findings 1, 2, and 4 are already addressed in the arbitration with NGCP. Next slide, please. Moving on the project implementation, as of August 2025, out of 249 projects, about 56.63% or 141 projects did not meet their target completion dates. Of these 100 projects were completed beyond their approved timelines, while 41 projects remain ongoing but are already delayed past their approved completion periods. Next slide, please. For that reason, our recommendations are the following. Transco recommends that it should be enforced the implementation of the Department of Energy's order on the constituted performance assessment and audit team, so that this interagency body, which was created to objectively assess NGCP's compliance with its obligations as transmission network provider and system operator under the concession agreement and EPIRA. However, NGCP has not allowed the conduct of the audit, limiting government oversight and validation of its reported performance. Transco recommends that the DOE and the Senate and Committee on Energy reinforce this department order and direct NGCP's full cooperation with the PAAT and PSO. And given the persistent compliance issues and the strategic importance of transmission operations to national security, Transco reiterates that system operations should return to government management and oversight. That's the last slide, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, give me a second. I'm digesting your presentation. If my colleagues want to ask anything, go ahead. Because I need 2 minutes to run through your tables.
Madam Chair, I think we have to hear an initial reaction from NGCP.
Yeah, that's a good. Use of our time. Okay. I was trying to get more specific.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, just recently, 21 October 2025, NGCP sent a letter to Transco President as well as PISAM President, subject being the joint PISAM and Transco assessment on NGCP's compliance with the concession agreement covering calendar year 2024. Let me just read the three main topics of that response. First, NGCP has been compliant with the provisions of the concession agreement has fulfilled its obligations as the concessionaire of the transmission assets and facilities. NGCP maintains its position that the scope and coverage of the inspection of books and records under Section 10.01 of the concession agreement merely extends only to financial books and records relating to the history and conditions of the transmission assets. PISAM and Transco's right to access to NGCP's books and records is solely for the purpose of checking NGCP's compliance with its obligation under the concession agreement. Second, NGCP reiterates its responses to Transco's recurring findings of alleged violation of certain provisions of the concession agreement, which have already been addressed and responded to by NGCP. And these items, Your Honor, are enumerated, listed in the letter. We can provide you, Your Honor.
Okay,
We can
thank you.
provide you. And third, as to the results of the assessment on compliances of the provisions of the concession agreement in their Annex A, the letter responding to, we have our detailed responses, Your Honor. And that also NGCP provided a response in line with the arbitration ruling regarding Transco's land-related capex and operating expenses for right-of-way, also enumerated, Your Honor. So essentially, Your Honor, what we're stating is that we have extensively responded to the allegations insofar as compliances of NGCP to the concession agreement, Your Honor. So we will provide the committee, Your Honor, with this letter. Thank you, Your Honor.
Particularly, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, the alleged refusal to allow Transco and PISAM to inspect new transmission projects. How is that?
Your Honor, our position is that if it is still in the construction or implementation stage, it is not yet a transmission asset because, Your Honor, the same has not been transferred to NGCP. It's the site, Your Honor, is under the construction site is under the control of the contractor, the ones that have been contracted. So insofar as there's safety concerns, since it's a construction site, Your Honor, we cannot we cannot assure, and that basically that's it, Your Honor. It's not yet a construction asset. It's not yet a transmission asset.
So, Madam Chair, it seems that that is a reasonable justification.
Especially in light of the fact, Your Honor, that even if these projects are not completed, we are already, the rates are already being collected for this ongoing transmission.
That doesn't give you the right to inspect on the basis of her answer, because ang may control nga yung mga contractors pa eh. She's talking about security and safety measures. So bakit hindi nyo hintayin na matapos nga naman ang project?
Your Honor, because for us, it's our interpretation that even inspecting these ongoing transmission projects is already performance of NGCP of its obligations.
That's been explicitly indicated in the
concession agreement.
concession
sir.
agreement?
It says, sir, that
because you're supposed to be interpreting it.
yes,
So parang
and
could be their understanding
yes,
against your
Mr. Chair.
reading of the context of the concession agreement. So
Yes, sir.
tingnan yung mabuti para siguro hindi tayo nagtatagal dyan.
Yes, Mr. Chair. And we understand also, Mr. Chair, that if there are problems with Madam Chair, with the provisions of the concession agreement, that the parties would negotiate on how to better go forward with these conflicting provisions without going to dispute resolution, Mr. Chair. Madam Chair.
So, on the same topic, the reason we're even having this discussion is because of the high rate of non-complied projects, right? That's why we're having this discussion, because in your presentation on the TRFLAT assessment on the compliance of NGCP, there are more projects that are not complied with than those complied with. And then there's even more that have no basis to assess the compliance. That is the reason you want to inspect, correct? Partly the reason you want to inspect?
Because
Or that's something
Madam
else?
Chair, the way it's written, the concession agreement states that Transco and PISAM should be able to monitor the performance of NGCP with its obligations under the concession agreement. And so
okay.
we believe that instead of just the technical and financial matters, we should be able to inspect all the other aspects, such
Okay.
as the
I understand what
legal-
you're saying. Okay. So I will repeat what you said based on my understanding. You're saying that your understanding is Transco should be able to monitor performance.
Yes, Madam Chair.
And you agree with that in principle, that they should be able to monitor performance. NGCP agrees with that in principle, Attorney Malyari?
Your Honor, so far as it is under the concession agreement section 10.01.